years old. They rolled him up to the front. He said the sinner's prayer. Time out, sweetheart. A, what verse is the sinner's prayer in? B, who told you that nonsense? Read my lips. They don't believe. They couldn't act that way towards you and betray you when you invested nothing but your whole life into them and believe the good news and have self-worth and a proper self-image. I'm a child of Yahweh. I'm washed. I'm clean. I'm set apart. I'm a vessel, and I'm going to behave like a chosen vessel. They can't believe they're a chosen, special, set-apart nation and priesthood, royal priesthood, chosen generation, showing forth the one praises of Him who has called them out of darkness into His marvelous light, and then turn and act like a priest of Baal, like a priest of darkness, like a Druid Celtic priest sitting under a pagan oak tree. Yeshua said, relax. I know who, I know when, I know how, and I know they will deliver you up. And here's why. Here's the shocker. They don't believe. And you say, well, Rabbi, she just doesn't go to church. No, sweetheart. If she loved Yahweh, she'd want to be with Yahweh's people. And I don't care if you call it a church, a milk carton, a box, or a sandbox.
Amen.
If you hate your brother whom you have seen, how can you possibly love Yahweh whom you have not seen? I like the program, I just don't like the people. I like the Great Commission, I just don't like the people. I love being a pastor or a rabbi, it's just the people I'm trying to get rid of. I've heard some clowns tell me that too. I'm having problems with the people. And so that spirit of betrayal, will manifest itself against the children of light. It targets the children of light. And if you happen to be its sister or its brother or its uncle, too bad for you. You're a child of light. You've been targeted. Your physical relationship to that person is secondary to the fact that you're light, you believe. Their darkness, they don't believe. And you are in their way, financially, career-wise. You're not letting them breathe. You hear that? Anybody ever hear that one? I need space. I need breathe. You're not letting me breathe. Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah.
Huh? Has anybody ever heard that? I need to get away from you because you're not letting me breathe. In other words, I'm only paying your phone bill, and I'm only doing your cleaning, and I'm only doing your laundry, and I'm only doing this, and I'm only driving you all around town. In other words, I have no life left because I've invested my whole life in you, right? And all I get back is, you're not letting me breathe. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Yeshua said, I want you to understand something. It's not because you're a strict parent. It's not because you failed as a parent. It's not because you need to lighten up as a whatever, a brother or a sister. It's because they don't believe. They can argue with you, they can disagree with you, but they can't betray you. Only an unbeliever who eats your table and lives within your home can betray you. But you know what? Yeshua said, relax. He says, look at Yochanan 6:64. I know from the beginning, before you were born and the one who's betraying you were born, I know who does and does not believe, and who is capable, and who's not capable of betraying you. I know who's capable. You follow me? When I went into the ministry, I'll never forget it, Pastor Steve Rode was a good friend of mine. I said, what's the one piece of advice you'd give me? I'm a pastor now. I'm not an evangelista anymore. What's the one piece of advice you can give me? I mean, I know there's a lot of things I'm going to learn by trial and error. He said, Marshall, those days was Marshall. That hurts. Thinking about that hurts. He said, then they get on the internet. I found out a secret about Rabbi Moshe. Yeah, what'd you find out? He's really Marshall, and he's parading around. And, shh, I found it out through the driver's license bureau. We uncovered it. We found it. We found out. All you gotta do is buy the tape, dummy, and listen. I'll tell you I'm Marshall. Save the $19.99 a month that you pay on the internet. Where was I? Oh, the advice. He said to me, Marshall boy, in Japanese culture it'd be, listen son, Papa-san, go. Be ready to be betrayed. And I'm thinking I'm going to hear about, don't forget to count the offering, don't forget to let everybody flow in the ruach, don't quench the spirit. No. He told me, okay, you ready? You sure you're ready for this? Yeah. Well, be ready to he told me, get prepared to be betrayed. David had Absalom. Okay. Many of the folks in the scriptures were betrayed. Many. Not to mention our master Yahshua. Absalom was betrayed. By who? By the very one who talks about betrayal here in Moshe Marcos. Right? Him and Barnabas split, didn't they? Didn't they split because they had much disputation over the role of Moshe Marcos? Rachel felt that he had betrayed him. All the characters in the Bible had experienced betrayal. And at the time Moshe Marcos betrayed him, he probably didn't believe, because if he did, he would have done the work of Yahweh and done it properly. Instead, he turned back from the work. Then that confirmed you what I've been sharing with you. John Mark, before he got saved, turned back from the work, but eventually he came to the work. Amen? Yochanan 13:11, as we start winding down. Man, I didn't know what I was going to teach on this morning. But sometime when you're going through things in your life, you could really share things that will help other people. Amen. Yochanan 13:11. Yochanan 13:11. Now this is easy. This is not easy. This is not even easy being here today. Okay? This is not easy. We've had a very difficult week. And actually probably the worst possible week anybody could have had. But I'm not here to bum you out. I'm here to tell you what Yeshua said in Yochanan 6. Before you were delivered, I knew that you would be delivered, and I knew by whom, and I knew they were not a believer, even though you thought they were a believer. A believer cannot betray another child of light. It can't. Only darkness seeks to betray light. But you don't understand, Rabbi, they wear a head covering. You don't understand. I don't care if they wear a garbage bag on their head. You don't think Yehuda didn't wear tzitzit? Come on, get real. He was a Jew or Hebrew. Of course he wore tzitzit. Some people say Hitler had Jewish blood. I wouldn't doubt it. Had a self-hating Jew. Yochanan 13:11. For he knew, now look at this, Yochanan 13:11, speaking of betrayal. For Yeshua knew who would deliver him. Notice, he knew. He's got that advantage. We don't. We get caught by surprise. He knew who would deliver him, and so he said, you are not all clean. Listen. Betrayal hurts so much. You know why? Not because your loved one didn't say hello, not because they didn't pick up the phone, not because they didn't give you a kiss in private. You know why betrayal hurts so much? Here it is. Because it is an unclean attack from an unclean spirit. It's right there. Yeshua said, I've got 12, but not all of you are clean. What does that mean? That some of the 12 had not showered? No, meaning that out of the 12 there was an unclean spirit, so that a betrayal of parents, when betrayal rises up against parents, or when parents deliver the children, any form of outright betrayal that rises up is through a non-believing heart, A, and B, understand, is not clean. I could look at this congregation now, Yahweh forgive me, and I could probably get away with saying, you are not all clean. And you could look at my house. I could look at your house. Or you could look at any pastor or an evangelist on television and say, you know something? You're not all clean. Do you understand? By definition, betrayal is a demonic attack. And because demonic attacks are concocted in the lowest rung of hell, that's why they zing you right where they're supposed to zing you, right in your leg. You understand? It's a frontal attack. It's not a sneak attack. It's not a camouflaged attack. It's not a sneak attack. It's in your eyes, in your face, and especially when they're discovered. You follow me? So now look what Yeshua is saying. This is very important. So listen, stay with me. It's very important. Yochanan 13:11. He said to the 12, he said, you are not all clean. What part don't we understand? He wasn't talking about taking a bath. He was talking about Judas, Yehuda, who was about to betray him through a work of uncleanliness and unclean spirit. Correct? So when you're betrayed, understand that Ephesians 6:12 is true, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, spiritual wickedness in high places. You've been targeted as a Torah-keeping Talmid. Not just a Talmid or Talmidah, but a Torah-keeping Talmid or Talmidah. You're marked. And the only way you're going to be betrayed is not by the world, not by the guy who sells dope on the corner. They can care less about you. They're just thinking about the next nickel bag. But betrayal, by definition, comes from the ones who share our table, who lift up their heel. They share our bed. They share our finances. They share our computer. They share our transport. Are you understanding me? So it's an unbelieving, unclean, demonic attack, and that's why it hurts. Because when you're blindsided, or T-boned, because it's not a blind side, this is a T-bone. When you're T-boned in a car accident, it hurts. Hello? That's when my back problem started, I believe, when I was T-boned in my Toyota van, selling Tootsie Roll lollipops for leukemia. Oh, I was a smart Jewish businessman. Only thing is I lost my shirt. I was going to sell, put in these leukemia Tootsie Roll pies in barbershops and hotels, and everybody was going to just throw quarters and 50, and all I had to do was run around, pick up the money, and put in new lollipops. It worked real good till they started stealing the boxes. So my lollipops and my money was stolen. I had no lollipops and no money, and I was Jewish and going to hell. What a combination. No lollipops and going to hell. You don't want to be a lollipop salesman going to hell. Especially lying through no teeth, honey. Telling everybody, don't worry, the money's going to leukemia. I don't go to leukemia, it was going to my bank account. Well, leukemia didn't care because as long as you send them $1, you kept the rest. All you had to do is they give you the box, you send them $2 or $1 a month, and you keep the rest. Seriously, it's legal. You know that, it's legal. They get $1 and you get the rest. Problem is, Yahweh made sure I got nothing. They got their $1, I got nothing, because by the time I got the box, there was no box, there was no pop, there was no rabbi, there was nothing. What are you looking at? I'm having fun. Be quiet. We got Kabar stirred up. Hashem Yahweh. Hallelujah. That's who I was. You can tell I was a believer. What was I doing? I wasn't acting righteously, so Yahweh made sure the business went up and popped. Now, Yochanan 13. So we got to understand, you know why it hurts, guys? You know why it hurts? It's a plain demonic attack. It's not just, Rabbi, you're not going to, my sister said this to me, and I gave her car and her house, and my parents died. I went overboard, I took care of her, I bought her kids clothing, and now she's completely turned her back on me. And you understand something? A, Yeshua knew it. B, they were ordained. C, they're not a believer. 4, they are not, all those folks that you're dealing with are not unclean. That's an unclean spirit that's attacked you. So, but at its core, when you're betrayed, when betrayal rises up, does betrayal happen suddenly? Doesn't happen suddenly. It rises up. It is a rising up of uncleanliness in your house. aroused and you can't stop it because you can't throw your husband on the street and you can't throw your child on the street, because if you do, family court and services will take them away. So you let it grow and you let it grow and you let it go on and you let the music continue and you let the friends continue and you let the internet chatter continue because if you take any action, they'll have you in handcuffs. That's why it's a spiritual battle. Because there's no natural solution. There's no natural solution. Do you understand? It's a spiritual battle. Yeshua said, relax. I know beforehand. I know who would deliver you up. And I've got it covered. I've got it covered. I'll take care of it. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So Yeshua said in Yochanan 13:11, he knew who would deliver him up. He wasn't surprised. He said, but even though you're not catching me surprised, I want you to know that you are not all clean. Meaning everyone sitting at Pesach is not going to be clean. Everyone in the shul is not all clean. I don't know who's who, I can care less. That's Yahweh's job, to separate the weeds from the tares. That's his job. My job is to make sure I'm not a tare. I love my daughter, but I'm not responsible for making sure she's a tare. I can feed her, and the decision is hers. I'm not responsible for say, Yahweh, when I die, I will present to you a piece of wheat, wholesome wheat. That's not my job, because I can't. Yeshua said, A, without me you can do nothing. B, no man, Yochanan 10, no man comes to me except the Father draw him. I'm sorry, John 6:44. No man comes to me except the Father draw him. But if the Father draw him, be sure that I will raise him up on the last day. So now I realize, hey, wait a second. I was a Gaura. I was a guardian. Gaura. Tone? I was a guardian. I was not the answer. Yeshua is the answer. How many times did Billy Graham sin? How many times did Billy Graham disobey Yahweh for Yahweh to visit his house with the sword? But he still had a problem with rebellion in the home. He still had a problem with rebellion. Okay, now so it's an unclean spirit. Now go with me to Matthew 26:2. Matthew 20. Again, this message, betrayal thoughts. Betrayal thoughts. Betrayal thoughts. And we've all felt, and many of us have in fact been betrayed. So it's not something uniquely happening to one or two people. We all experience it and we all encounter it to varying degrees. Matthew 26:2. You know, after 2 days, the Passover takes place. The Pesach takes place. And the Ben Adam will be what? Impaled. Then the Kohanim and the Sophrim and the Zechanim of the people came together in the court of the Kohen HaGadol, who was called Caiaphas, and plotted to seize Yeshua by trickery to what? To kill him. Okay, circle those words, kill him. Because it is, listen, an unclean demonic spirit, a betrayal always hurts. Why? It always is and leads to bloodletting. What was the result of this conspiracy between the Prushim and Yehuda? What was the result? Innocent blood. Betrayal, by definition, makes you not only the victim, but that innocent blood is spilled. Do you understand? When you are betrayed, that means innocent blood. It always ends. Betrayal always ends, figuratively or literally, with innocent blood being spilled. Hello? That's why it's an unclean spirit. Let's tie all this in together, Rabbi. Can we tie all this in together? Sure I can. If it's unclean and it's demonic, and it always, let's try this now. Turn to your neighbor and say always. I was easy on you guys today. Always results in bloodletting. What's another way to say bloodletting? What's another way to say bloodletting? What's a more common term? Murder. That's why it's so painful. It will murder you emotionally, spiritually, and in extreme cases, even physically. It always ends the same way. There's no such thing as a betrayal without spilling blood. And when you spill blood, the life is in the blood. Leviticus 17. The life of the flesh is in the blood. I have given it upon the altar to make an atonement for your soul, for it is the blood that maketh an atonement for your soul. So our life force is in the blood. So the point of betrayal is to suck the life out of you. If you let it. If you let it. So by definition, Yeshua said it's an unclean demon because it's a murdering spirit. It's designed to murder you. That's why betrayal hurts. It results in bloodletting. I'll say that again. You cannot show me any act of true, sincere betrayal. Darkness against light, unbeliever against believer, okay? Child against parent, parent against child, brother against sister, that does not result in either figurative or literal blood being spilled. Relationships are never the same after that. You can't trust that person. You don't know when they're going to walk into your bedroom at night and stick a knife in you. Either literally or spiritually. You don't have to do it literally. If they did it once in your house, they can do it again in your house. That relationship can never be the same unless a regeneration experience takes place. So what's the solution to this whole mess of betrayal? Go with me to John 3:3. Yochanan 3:3. Yochanan 3:3.
Hallelujah.
One verse. Very simple.
Hallelujah.
Yeshua answered and said to him, Amen, amen, I say to you, unless one is born from above, he is unable to see the reign of Elohim. Verse 4, how is a man able to be born? Truly I say, born of water, or born of the Spirit. Okay, verse 8, you must be born again. You must. Where's that verse? Where's that verse? Somebody, quick. Quickly. 3:16. 3:16. 3:16. No, you must be born again. Find that verse for me, quickly.
5.
5? Truly I say to you, unless you are born of water and the Spirit, you are unable to enter the reign of Elohim. But it doesn't use that. Here it is, 7. You know why it confused us? We're so used to the term born again. Here it says born from above, so we missed that. Okay, Yochanan 3:7. Talking to myself, of course. Do not marvel. Well, do not marvel that I said to you, you must be born again. I go to shul, doesn't matter. My dad's a pastor, doesn't matter. I've been exposed to it since from the cradle, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You must be born from above. That's how the murdering spirit is turned into a spirit of life. So that's the answer for the one doing the betraying. But what's the answer for us who have been betrayed? Go with me to Yaakov. Yaakov. Is anyone enjoying? Let's try that again. Is anyone enjoying? Yaakov 4. Yaakov 4:7. Now listen very carefully. Don't just say, well, this is a quick band-aid and we know the word, but how do we apply it? The answer is in the scripture. Yaakov 4:7. So when? When you are betrayed, when your blood has been spilled, when you feel like the life has been sucked out of you, which is what betrayal is designed to do. It's not designed to get your attention, it's designed to kill you. For it is written in Yochanan 10:10, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. And the thief happens to live in my home. What do you do now? The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. Yeshua told you already it was an unclean, murdering spirit. How do you protect yourself from a murdering spirit? A, you pray for their regeneration, because a believer cannot betray another believer. they'll feel convicted. Hello? Because the Ruach HaKodesh has been sent to Yahweh's children to convict of sin, righteousness, and judgment. Our sin, His righteousness, and impending judgment to those who don't give up their sin and adopt His impending judgment upon this planet. The Ruach HaKodesh has been sent to convict of sin, righteousness, and judgment. Our sin, His righteousness, and the judgment we will have if we're not born again and repent and change our life. So the betrayer must be born again while there is still time before they hang themselves. In us, here's how we overcome when we've been betrayed. Not just feel betrayed, but in fact been betrayed. Okay? And how do you know you've been betrayed? Not by your feelings. You can't go by your feelings. When you've been kissed in public and hated behind closed doors. When that person tells you to your face one thing, but they betray the Son of Yahweh with a kiss. And behind closed doors, there's the most vile, unnatural affections being expressed to others who are also in darkness. That's how you know you've been betrayed. When you can catch that person and it manifests, it rises up. Hello? And you see it, you find it, you have evidence. Yaakov 4:7. So then, when you've been betrayed, then, so then, subject yourselves to Elohim, resist the devil, and he will flee. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! So, at that time you're at a fork road. When you've been betrayed, that's ipso facto, it's done, it's happened. That's history. You've been betrayed. Now how do we react? Now how do you react? You could lose faith, lose strength, and compromise, and try to work with that one who did the betraying. Or you can re-subject yourself, rededicate yourself, recommit yourself back to the full Torah and the full counsel of Yahweh, more determined than before that through your steadfast you will deliver yourself and those who hear you and follow you. That's how we overcome. By a recommitment and a rededication and a recovenanting of the Brit Esh, or the covenant of fire, saying the more they spill, the longer their knife, the more